When you're the family scapegoat, it's very difficult to move on or to move forward. And part of that is because we're not taught to leave. We're not taught that we can have these boundaries, and then when those are crossed, our job is to get up and leave. So we're never taught to leave. We're not taught to go. We're taught to be summoned and then to be sent away. So we're kind of like, that valued and devalued. We're picked up and then we're discarded. And our job is just to kind of always hang around. And so that makes it very hard to know when to move and what does moving on even look like and when are you supposed to do it. So we're going to talk a bit more about that in just a second. Hi, my name is Olivia. I am passionate about helping you understand what relational trauma is so that you can heal and grow and move forward. So today, everything is coming from my book, A Scapegoat No More Forever. You can find it on Amazon. I will put a link, a QR code on the screen and a link in the description. So in looking at a scapegoat, it's really hard to move forward. And if someone has never been scapegoated, it's not very clear to them. They don't understand, why would you go back? Then why don't you just leave? Then why don't you just stay? So there are a few reasons that go into us not being able to move forward. And that's why so much of the book is about how to move forward, because we almost have to learn how to do that. So for one, we're so used to being treated so poorly. And anytime we've dared to try to tell someone, the abuse is set up in a way so that if you were to express it or try to confide in someone, you look crazy. You look crazy when you're trying to explain what it is that's happened to you. And we're so used to being the bad guy. We're so used to being the one to blame that sometimes we can over explain or over defend ourselves. And so that just keeps adding to looking like we're over exaggerating, we're making it up, when the reality is pretty alarming, just how shocking what we've gone through has been through, what we've been. And the other thing is, we're used to sort of getting that feedback, so we don't know when to stop. So if we're trying to explain to someone and we're trying to give voice to our experience, and someone's not really showing you that they understand, which how could they? It's usually pretty far out there. But that's when we need to stop talking. We need to stop trying to push an agenda. We need to stop trying to make someone else understand. This is the beauty of the book, is it's completely designed to help us to understand what we went through. So it's really learning how to validate and own your own experience for yourself, rather than trying to feel like, if I convince someone of this, then they're gonna help me. Then they're going to save me. Then I'm going to be strong enough so that I can move on. And that is part of learning how to build a healthy support system. But that is very different than just sort of not trauma bleeding, but it's almost like just trying to get someone to see what it is you've been through. And the more they invalidate, rather than saying, okay, well, clearly this is if you've ever seen, I think it's in What About Bob? And Bill Murray's, this line is disconnected. This is just not a working number, and I'll just hang up and try again later, or maybe I'm not going to try again at all. It's more like that. Okay, I was honest with you. I was vulnerable with you. Maybe one or two times. You continue to flip it on me. You continue to side with my abusers. You continue to squash what it is I'm saying. I'm just going to stop saying it to you. That's a disconnected line for now. The number's not working. So let me just find another working number, because there are millions of other working numbers, truly. So that's part of it. But again, when you've been scapegoated, until you find someone who's had a similar experience, and this is the hard part, because, with a larger family, once you leave, they're going to find a new scapegoat, because that's how they're surviving the dysfunctional family system. But until that happens, there's only one of you. So even though you're like, how can you not see it? How can you not see how she treats me? How can you not see how bad he treats me? You were there, you saw it, you witnessed it. Surely you must know to some degree. But that's where we start trying to get validation and support. And they're like, nah, because I've seen what happens to you. And I don't need that attention focused to me. So you're on your own. Not only that, but they are oftentimes just as helpless as you are to change anything. And since they know the tormentor, they cannot go against the tormentor and change them, then they're going to go to work at getting you to stop talking about it, to stop having a problem with it, because it's a lot easier to just make it about you and make you go away and just keep dealing with all the shame and the pain than it is to confront what is wrong within the system. So this is our first crack, or our first shot at trying to say what it is that's happening. And we're already learning, I'm not believed, I'm just blamed more. So it's not too big of a leap to then grow up and try to explain it to other people, find the same type of response and feedback, and to not know, I just need to stop talking to this person about this. I could still talk to them, but they're not going to understand. And the problem is, the more we open up and explain and defend ourselves to this person who we definitely don't need to, it sort of scapegoats us even more. So everything is getting more heightened. And that's just so unfair to us, and it's unnecessary. So that's part of what makes moving on difficult, is that how do you move on when you're still not making sense of your experience, because you can't really share it and have it reflected to you in a way that is meaningful and powerful. Instead, you're sharing, it is not reflected back to you. The only thing that's reflected back to you is that you're bad. You're still being a problem. You're still trying to get attention. You're still trying to cause division, whatever it is that anyone is trying to label that as, other than abuse. And just not saying yeah, this is terrible. They definitely should not be doing this. This is not okay. And what can I do? Or how are you? Or, do you need anything from me? Or there's got to be a way for you to get out of this or find support. If it's not that, then it's just scapegoating you further. And so what do you move on from when you just keep being told it's your fault? And everything you try to do to change it doesn't change it. That's how it's not your fault. Let me give you another example. Let's say I'm in a relationship and this person says, Olivia, if you would just do A, B, and C, I could love you. If you would just do these 3 things, I could love you. We would have the best relationship. Everything would move forward. It would finally be fixed. Just do these 3 things. And one day I finally hear it, even though I feel like it's them, but I'm like, okay, they really want me to do these 3 things. And then they say, but I need you to do it for a period of time. And then I say, I'm finally open to it. And I say, you know what? That is going to be my mission. I am going to do that A, B, and C, those 3 things. And I'm going to do it successfully. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability for an extended period of time so that our relationship will get better. So I do A, B, and C day after day, month after month, and I'm working towards a year, and nothing's changing in the relationship. 0, nothing. And do you know why? Because that's not the problem, and it's probably not even me. I'm just being manipulated, and this is part of their game. So that's what it's like being a scapegoat. You're told, if you would just do this, why can't you just do this? Why do you always have to do this? And so you're like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to stop doing this, and I'm going to start doing this, and then everything's going to get better within the whole system. But guess what? Nothing you try ever works. Why? Because it's not actually you. And I know that someone hearing this that's never been through that is going to see it as not taking accountability, or not really trying, only wanting to be the victim, wanting to stay the martyr. And it's just not true when you're a scapegoat. No one's trying harder than you. You're doing everything above and beyond that you can, and nothing is changing. And anytime you try to say how does no one else see this? Is it really, am I really that far out there? Am I that hateful? Because I feel like I'm pretty loving. I feel like I'm the one who's always there. I'm the one who really does care. I'm the one who's with you through thick and thin. I will have your back. And instead, it's portrayed as you're the least caring, you're the least supportive, the least contributing. And it's just so confusing, because you're loving every way you know to love, and you're still being accused of being this bad, pain in the rear end type of a person. And it's just what? Because a lot of times, if you can get away from the system that's scapegoating you and you get around people who see your value, it's amazing the difference. They just automatically get you. They automatically see that you have such a big heart, that you are so caring, that you are so loving, that you are so capable. And you're thinking okay, this is weird. This is really weird. What? I feel like you finally see me for who I am, and that feels so foreign to me, and it's so confusing. But again, if I can't move on, then I'm going to stay trapped. But the problem is you can't really, I don't know how anyone moves on until they start to see it for what it is. You have to first see it for what it is. And it's a process. So it's not something that happens overnight. And yes, there will be a point where you make a different decision and then you start to understand, oh, I have some of these lingering behaviors because I was scapegoated that I really need to work on. Because now, I am being a problem in these relationships because of what I had to adapt to survive this environment. And I want to get rid of these because I'm sick of them. But that's like on the other side of the hill and down a bit and over a fence. Like that is not this moment. This moment is still trying to work through and understand what it was that happened to you. But again, you can't do that if you're still trying to defend how it is you're feeling. It's sort of like being in a really shallow pool of water and you're like flapping around and someone's like, hey, just stand up. And then you stand up and you're like, oh, I didn't need to flap around like that. All I had to do was stand up. That's exactly how it is when you're defending yourself with someone. You don't need to. You don't need them to understand your experience. You need to be the one that understands your experience. And that's exactly what the book does. It's designed to walk you through and help you to see and understand what it is you have been through and what happened to you and why we may behave certain ways we do because of what we have been through. But none of that is a life sentence. None of it is. You can for sure heal and for sure you can move on. But again, you first have to understand your experience and you have to stop trying to explain it to people who are just not going to understand. Because the reality is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they understand or not. Again, it only matters that you understand. That's who needs to understand it the most. And that's how you begin to stand up in that shallow pool of water and then you're not flapping around wasting your time. So you can find all of this some more from A Scapegoat No More Forever. I hope you stop trying to explain and defend yourself. I actually will link another video on the screen about how to stop defending and explaining yourself when you're a scapegoat. And the link for this and a full course that's available on my website will be in the description. You can watch these videos that I'm going to put on the screen for you between now and the next one. I hope you're having a good day and you're hanging in there, and I'm going to see you in the next one.